Let me tell you a secret. You can run a seven-figure business with no employees remotely from any place in the world, and it's not that hard. Elliot, come on, man, that's impossible. Wait, how would I know? How am I so convicted? Probably because I'm doing it. I'm talking to you today from Medellín, Colombia. I've lived here for 18 months. I have a business with contractors, but not employees, and I'm running at a run rate of over $100,000 a month, which means I'm pulling in $1 million of revenue, seven figures, every single year. Now, I'm not saying setting this up is easy. What I'm saying is getting here and landing in this location at this status now makes your life much easier. You can actually build your life into your weekly plan as opposed to having your business commandeer your weekly plan. You can take trips. You can be around people you want to be around. And frankly, you cannot be around people that you don't want to be around. So what does this mean? So the dream that I'm talking about is not just myself. My ideal customer is a customer who bought a business 2 years ago, moved his wife and two kids to an island off the coast of Belize and runs a digital marketing business from there with no employees also. I'm not just talking about me. I could name 4 or 5 other people that I know that I've helped get into the same situation. So wait, everybody else has employees. Everybody else has a hard time getting 7 figures. You're just talking about pie in the sky. No, my whole channel tells you how to buy 7-figure businesses. So I'm going to take that and put it on the show because every video on this channel is about that. How do you do the no employees and how do you do the 7-figure? The no employees. The difference between an employee and a contractor is like barely nothing. But the responsibility you have to one versus the other is very different. So let's talk about a business with 10 employees. So if I go into a business with 10 employees, all those 10 employees are expecting me to keep the business running at the same revenue level so they can have jobs, so they can feed families, so they can have their kids in school, so they can pay for their cars, so they can go on vacation. And as soon as that train stops for even one of them, it becomes a very significant event for that person. And for most small business owners, you care about your employees too much to just make harsh decisions about cash flow. Oh, cash flow's down 10%, so I'm getting rid of 1 or 2 people. You're just not built like that. Let's talk about an alternative way to do this. As opposed to 10 employees, what if you had 10 contractors? They do the same jobs, they do the same work, they show up the same way, but they have to manage their workload to keep you happy. You have to manage having enough money to pay them, but they recognize that if the business gets slow, that they have the benefit of being a contractor. So the downside sometimes is there may be slow months. And everybody is okay with and actually typically likes that trade. That contractor actually gets paid more on a net basis as well, which is another reason why it's easier to pitch this. Wait, hold on. Everybody said contracting was hard. What do you mean they get paid more? Okay. The U.S. tax system is built to help business owners benefit through taxes. And so when you're a contractor, you actually are operating a business. And so you can write off a lot of personal expenses and a lot of business expenses when you do your taxes each year. So for $100,000 in both scenarios, right, an employee and a contractor, the employee may lose 40% to the government. So that's $60,000 now. Whereas the contractor, depending on how creative they are, they may keep 80% or 80 grand out of the 100. So it's actually a huge step up in net money to the person. What are the other benefits of running a business without employees? So when it comes to, I need to have a conversation with one of my workers about their performance not being up to snuff or a new thing they need to do, a new procedure, or a new way we're going to go to business, the standard way is let's have a big meeting. Bring all of my employees into a room and we're going to talk about the new goals and new visions or maybe how people aren't really getting up to snuff. That's cool, but that's not the smartest way. When you have contractors, one call that says, hey, I'm not sure if I can actually deliver the same amount of work to you, or I'm not sure we're going to be able to keep you for the next month. We found somebody that's willing to do some of the things that you've been having a hard time with. And I think they'll be in a better position to actually take us to the next level. I promise you that'll be the last performance improvement conversation you'll ever have to have. That person will fix everything in that moment. And that's why another reason the contractor model versus the employee model is better. So now I talked about 7-figure businesses. Now I talked about employees versus contractors. So now let's talk about remote. So did you live through COVID? You probably did. Did you realize that people don't need to be in an office to do hard work? Probably did. Did you realize that people all of a sudden that were working in Silicon Valley were living in Miami? Did you see the mass exodus out of New York? You see everybody going to Texas? They're just doing a remote switch up in the country. But for a lot of folks, what does it matter whether you're in Texas or the beach in Mexico or Costa Rica or Spain, Portugal, South Africa? Heck, some folks like Asia. You can actually set up your business wherever. And it's so simple. Let's just be real, guys. With the internet connection and a computer, you work on the plane, don't you? You work when you're on vacation in these places. If you can actually get your mind to just say, hey, why can't I live in paradise and do this work? Why can't I be the one that takes advantage of this? Now, you're not going to be able to snap your fingers. It took me 5 years to figure out. From when I saw my friend do it to when I landed here in Medellín, it took me 5 years to figure it out. You may be smarter than me. It may take you just one. But you can put together a plan to say, hey, I'm going to start selling these things. I'm going to start moving to more remote work. I'm going to actually help my partner move into more remote work. Actually, because the cost of living difference, and it's probably going to be way cheaper to live wherever you're going. Maybe I take a 20% earnings haircut because my spending power will be in excess of that 20%. So I'll actually take a step up by taking a step back. And now you set those things up, and all of a sudden in 18 months, you're like, well, I'm flying to paradise like my buddy off the coast of Belize, and I'm going to run my business from there. So I've talked about 7-figure acquisitions. I talked about running a company with no employees. And I talked about sort of the beginning stages of figuring out the ideal remote life. And so these aren't things that I'm talking about because I heard of them. I didn't like read the 4-Hour Work Week and I'm just putting that stuff in this video. No. I'm living it. And so what I'm actually able to help you get through is all of the issues, the hurdles, the burdens, the thought processes, the challenges about this, and especially doing it with the family, because it's not just you, it's your partner, it's your kids, it's safety, it's schooling. I get all of that, but it's not impossible. And for anyone on this channel, I know you're here to build the ideal life. So I can talk about way more than just the business acquisition part of that. Let's get into the no employees. Let's get into the remote ownership and operation. Setting up your business in this way takes work, but it is by no means impossible. I want you to stay on the channel and watch other videos where I talk about some of these topics so you can really get the 101 on how to do any of these things and really all of these things. And even the advisory services on my website give you a view into how do we actually help coach people to get into these positions. So subscribe, click the first link in the description below to get to the advisory portion of my website, and look at the other videos here that can help you get to the place that you want to be.